Buongiorno a tutti. Hello and welcome. I'm Monica Ricci, the Director of Marketing at Opera Viva, and I'm pleased to welcome you to another installment of our interviews with Opera Viva faculty. Today, I had the pleasure of speaking with Katherine Ciesinski. Katherine is a voice teacher at Opera Viva, and when she's not spending her summers with us in Verona, she is a professor at the Eastman School of Music in Rochester, New York. I had a chance to catch up with Katherine and talk to her about the things she loves about Italy, various aspects of the Opera Viva program, and how she works with the students for the 3 weeks that they come to work with us in Verona every summer. Please enjoy. Hi, Katherine. How are you today?
Monica, I'm great. It's so nice to see you.
It's so nice to see you, and I'm really appreciative that you had taken the time to sit down and chat with me today.
Oh, my great pleasure. This is one of my favorite things in the world, and you'll probably have to stop me from talking about it.
I won't want to stop you, so why don't we go ahead and dive in? Why don't you tell me a little bit about how long have you been teaching voice at Opera Viva?
I believe it's been at least 5 years, and it may be a few longer. I didn't get to start right at the inception of Opera Viva because I've had a long-standing teaching commitment in the summers in Mexico. And actually, Joyce Fieldsend, who's one of the founders with Madeline Gerhardt of Opera Viva, was teaching with me in Mexico, and I remember distinctly when she said, "Oh, I'm beginning this new venture in Italy." And of course, at that time, she was living in Venezia, which is so close to Verona, and I could just feel the excitement in her heart as she embarked on this new teaching adventure. And I didn't really know that I would have the opportunity to join her so soon after, but we were able to work out the dates, which were conflicting initially, so that I could come and spend a slightly shorter amount of time in Verona and then still get to Mexico for the encuentro that I was busy teaching at. So it turned out to be a really incredible jumping from continent to continent, but to be with friends, friendly colleagues, such incredible colleagues, and to work with such wonderful, deserving students on both sides of the Atlantic.
I know that of the many things we share of being in Verona with Opera Viva, one of the best things about it is just being in Italy. And I wonder if you might share with me your memories of your first trip to Italy.
Well, my first trip to Italy came when I was singing in France in a summer festival, and I was able to travel with a friend in a car across the border. And so it was a real adventure because this were, two young people just driving around and getting to know a little bit of the landscape. Always in search of gelato. That was an important stop at every city that we visited. But I was so struck, especially as a musician, I was so struck to be in this country that had such a long and incredibly rich history, cultural history. But what really made me weep with admiration was just seeing the landscape. I realized immediately why music from this country was so melodically beautiful and had such grace and rhythm and energy, because all I had to do was look at the hillsides and see cypress trees lining the horizon, or see towns that were just nestled in the valley, and everything was just so incredibly lyric to my mind, and it just touched my heart, and it really made me understand something about the soul of the country. And of course, no first trip to Italy would have been complete if I had not gotten to Verona. And so, in addition to all the Romeo and Juliet lore and that kind of literary turn, I went to the Arena and got to see an opera there, and it was so mind-boggling to be in this ancient structure, and to know that people had been in the structure for millennia, and to know that this thing is still standing and it's still serving the people. It is still bringing people together. In obviously in the current time, it's bringing people together for opera. It's bringing people together to really rejoice as a huge group, to see half of the stadium taken up with the stage, and to hear a live orchestra just having that sound well up and fill all of the thousands and thousands of seats. It really just took my breath away to be there. So little did I know that a few years later that I would actually have the incredible fortune of coming to be at Opera Viva and to be living in Verona for these 3 weeks in the summertime.
And as you know, we get to go to the Arena di Verona every week while we are there, and experience the productions at just an immense scale. Do you remember what your first performance was, the first thing you saw there?
Well, actually, the very first thing I saw there was a movie. They were playing Traviata with Anna Moffo, and so they had put down this huge movie screen down on the the stage level, and it was treated as if it were a live opera. And the crazy thing was that the audience was singing along with all of the beautiful melodic themes. I had never been surrounded. I mean, this was surround sound, literally. I was in this audience with these people just singing along with the opera. It was just incredible. I did get to see Aida one of the other times that I was able to go, and so I did get to see a live performance complete with the incredible animals that come out in the triumphal march, and the crowd on the stage, which just never seems to end. I mean, I don't know how they have the dressing room space for all of those hundreds and hundreds of people and the dancers, and it's just stunning.
Well, why don't you tell me a little bit then about how you handle the experience at Opera Viva, how you prepare for spending 3 weeks with the students, that most of whom you've probably never worked with before, how you work with them during the 3 weeks, and then how you stay in touch with them after Opera Viva is over.
Well, the first thing is that we get to live together. We all live in the same hotel, and our classes are in that same building. I cannot tell you from all the other summer experiences that I've had what an advantage this is, because we get to know the students. So it is this very sort of immersion kind of experience where we really do get to appreciate and know each other, and in effect look out for each other too. In the mornings, I know, Monica, you are a faithful early morning walker, as I am. And so there is a team of us that we get up early in the morning and we take in that morning sunshine and the fresh air and get our blood coursing. And there are always students that join us. And so there's another way that we get to know them and to really support their well-being while they are in this intense training. And when it comes to singing, of course, that is just an incredible joy. I get to work with all of the students twice a week. And so what that does is it really gives us very finite time frames in order to achieve a very specific goal. Within 3 weeks, I know I can't take a person apart and put that person back together again. I think that's unfair and really not necessary, because you can still make a lot of inroads by planting the seeds and just giving each singer the sense of like, okay, you can move the needle from this problem that you've been having and that you've worked a lot on, and we can just move that needle a little bit and you can have a couple of fresh ideas and you can start putting them into practice. And then with 3 weeks of time to do that intensively, that really, it's kind of amazing, but it really does feel like you've worked together for a much longer period of time. And so that, again, that intensity and that immersion where we are always available, of course. So if someone says, gosh, I tried that yesterday and in my practicing and I couldn't replicate it at all. Well, come on back and we'll just work it out again. I'll give you another way to think about it. So my resourcefulness as a teacher is always put into gear, and that's one of the things I love about teaching the most. It's a really kind of very sophisticated kind of problem solving, and that joy and intense satisfaction that comes from seeing a singer take a good idea and then make it their own is something that really can happen in a short period of time. So it's always a different experience when you're in a small community. The teaching goes between the students as much as it does from the faculty to the students. I will also say that one of the joys of being on a faculty of this kind with great colleagues is that we sit around and discuss the students daily. So we spend a lot of time reflecting on what each student has accomplished and how we can support each other's work with the student. So while I might see a student twice a week as an individual lesson, I'm very aware of what they're working on in their coaching. I go and sit in on some of the staging rehearsals when I have time and watch them physically try to carry out the instructions of the stage director. And from that, I get a three-dimensional look at how this young performer is managing all of these tasks that we do as opera singers. And then in discussion with my colleagues, we then try to formulate and continue to support the progress that we see happening or take down the roadblocks that we see happening. So it really has a particular kind of advantage that is unlike any other program that I've ever been around. This is such a nurturing resource for young singers to have this safe place to be. And it's safe in every way. It's a safe living situation. It's a safe working situation. We all hang out together afterwards. We all walk home from the arena at midnight and after, depending on how long the opera is. We hang out together. So there's such a sense of small community within a larger community. It's very, very heartening to be a part of that, and kind of idealistic in a way that you don't really get a chance to experience in your regular life, the academic year. You don't really get a chance to do that in the same way.
So Katherine, do you mind sharing with me one of your favorite memories from your time with Opera Viva?
Oh, do I have to only pick one? This is so hard. I'm gonna tell you a couple. One is that I had an opportunity to go to Venezia, which is only an hour train ride away, and I got to see one of my former students sing at La Fenice. And it was so stunning. The production was spectacular. This student was just beyond belief. It was so fascinating and so excellent to be in this ancient, fabulous theater, to see someone that I actually taught who was standing up there being fabulous. To get to go backstage, of course, afterwards and cheer. That was just, one of those wonderful, most wonderful, heartening moments of my teaching career. Another one that was totally different was this summer. It was about 2 or 3 summers ago, where Cristo, the artist who, God rest his soul, has just passed on, was doing these outrageous installations. And the one that was within reach from where we were was on one of the lakes. And he had built, I think they called it the piers, but he had literally built a highway across the lake to the island that was in the center of the lake. And then he built another extension on that so that people could walk to yet another little place. And this pontoon was like 10 to 12 feet wide or so. And everybody was there trying to go and walk on this, this art installation. So I took an early morning train with one of our students from Opera Viva. And of course, in this day and time, when we think about social distancing, that was the most impossible thing to have happened. We were crammed onto the train. We were like thrown off the train at the little tiny wharf town that was at the lakeside, and then we joined this phalanx of very slow moving people, 6 across, all just sort of moving their way inexorably toward the edge of the water to get the experience of walking on these pontoons. And when you were on the thing finally, the euphoria, the children were jumping around. I mean, you think that this is probably one of the more dangerous things you could do with, water, who knows how many feet deep on either side, freezing cold because it's like a mountain, it's like a mountain is there. But to feel the euphoria of these people who just like danced and played and skipped and walked and held their hands and just enjoyed being out there, literally on the water. It was just so spectacular.
Well, it's so lovely to hear you describe your experiences and your memories of Italy and Verona and Opera Viva, Catherine. I share many of those same experiences. I share your love of it. And thank you for taking the time to talk to me today.
Oh, Monica, you have just given me the chance to reopen my heart to Italy. Being so far away right now, I'm eating pasta every night, just thinking of it. I just have such a love affair with it, even though it wasn't really the country that I had the most professional success in. I had some very interesting successes in Italy. I sang at Spoleto. I sang in Siena. Some early music there. I was on the Rai radio station in Milano, and some other things, some other auditions, of course, that happened. Had some summer study over in Lido di Camaiore over on the West Coast. So I've just had varying connections with Italy, and they all have this flavor of the spectacular in one way or another. And it's just so great that we get a chance to share some of those with people who are interested in Opera Viva and may come and join us.
Absolutely. Well, I hope to see you there very, very soon.
Me too.
Well, we'll say goodbye. Thank you so much for spending the time today.
Oh, ciao, Bella.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. Well, I hope you enjoyed my conversation with Catherine as much as I did. And to close out today's video, I want to share with you another recording by an Opera Viva student. This performance was recorded in the summer of 2017, and this is soprano Hannah Stokes, who is now in graduate school studying with Katherine Ciesinski at the Eastman School of Music. Hannah is singing an aria from Donizetti's The Elixir of Love. And this is a scene in Act 2 when Adina is singing to Nemorino, "Prendi, per me sei libero," when she tells him that she has released him from his obligation to military service so that he can stay and wed her. Please enjoy, and join me again next time for our next interview with Opera Viva faculty. Have a great day. Ciao, ciao a tutti.
slow.